Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me again for another Woman to Woman. I am your host, Anntricia Bray Smith, author, educator, and public speaker. I am the voice for those who suffer in silence. It is indeed a blessing to be here with you, as today our topic is a peek into 2021. We're going to take a peek into 2021. Together we're going to just come together and just have a conversation to see what it looks like. What does the future hold for us? And women, I know that we have been through so much. We survived through so much. And as much as we've been through and as much as we survived, we know that we have lost several along the way. So right now, before we dive into our topic, I just want to take just a moment of silence just to think about those and reflect on what this past year has been, what that looks like for us and for the loved ones, the friends, the families, and just the people that we've lost over the past 12 months of 2020. So let's just take a moment just to reflect, a moment of silence, just to remember those. Awesome. Guys, I don't know about you, but I needed that. I needed just that moment of reflection, that deep breath, just to take time to not only reflect on those that didn't make it, but also just to take that time to be grateful and to sit in that moment that regardless of what 2020 was, we're still here. We're still pressing toward greatness. And so that is the only thing that really keeps me grounded. Is just knowing that each day I get up is another day to make an impact in your life. Another day for you to make an impact in someone else's life. Another day for us to just press into our greatness. And we know that our greatness looks different for each of us. So we're at different levels. We're on uh, different platforms of development, uh, and it looks different for each of us. But I want to come together with you today just to take a peek into 2021. What does 2021 look like for you, for your family, for your career, for your finances? What does it look like? And I know for me, as I stroll through the channel and I come across some news station. Oh my goodness. There are some things that I've been blinded to. There are some things that because I protect my mental space that I was not aware of. I kind of knew, but I didn't know. But when you turn the news on and they're telling you this great big number of families that are facing evictions in the upcoming 2021, hey, it isn't even here already, and people are already facing evictions. Where does that leave us as a society, as a community, as a nation? This place of opportunity, this land of freedom that we live in, where does that leave us when already the thought of 2021 means losing the roof over our head, losing our shelter? We've already become conditioned and to losing our job, understanding what that looks like. And so many of us have set out to create our own jobs, create our own small businesses. But to lose our homes on top of that, losing your career, losing your homes, what does that look like? In a country where it's telling us to stay indoors, stay inside, shelter in place, because we can't trust the air we breathe, The air we breathe it's what's taking our lives. But then you remove that shelter, you remove that um, roof over someone's head, over a family's head, and now they're out in the streets. Where do we go? What shelters do we have that are going to be safe? Uh, where do we go from that? Does that mean we're living in our cars? Does that mean that we have to pitch up a tent somewhere in an empty field, under a bridge or somewhere? Do we join the homeless population? Does that mean that we're now transitioning into the hotel, motels, or the Holiday Inns? What does that look like? I mean, seriously. And I was looking at one of the interviews there on the news, and this young lady was there. And the person that was conducting the interview, one of the first things when they were introducing the young lady is they introduced us as saying that her and her 2-year-old child were already facing eviction in the coming days. Already. Now, I'm assuming that with my little mind and me being sheltered in my little box, that I've become blinded to some of the real issues that we're dealing with in society. And I know some of you women are too. I know some of you are just like me. You know that there's a situation, but really we have been protected in some ways or another that we haven't even thought. We can't even fathom what that looks like to be facing eviction. Not only facing eviction for ourselves, but for us that are raising small children. And so, what I'm thinking, guys, more often than not, is that where we've been so comfortable with our own space, where we've been so comfortable with having our own place that we can call home and don't want anyone to visit, don't want anyone to come over, don't want to share what we have with uh, other people. I'm thinking that 2021 is going to bring a new revelation to the word and to the meaning of family. It's going to bring new revelation and new meaning to the word of friendship. It's going to be a new revelation and a new meaning to the word community. And I believe all 2021, these are going to be the words that are going to define whether or not we survive and we prosper and that we make it through. So, what does 2021 look like for you? When you hear 2021, I know some people, and I've said this several times on the different media platforms, is that some people think that 2021 is just going to present itself January 1st and it's just going to be some magic formula and that everything is just going to disappear. I beg to differ. I believe that 2021 is going to show up on January 1st. And if you haven't been rooted and grounded in 2020 and done the work and the development that you need for yourself, 2021 is going to leave you behind. I honestly believe that. I believe that if we haven't developed new habits already, if we haven't developed a new mindset, a new way of looking at life, and understanding what the cycle of life really looks like, 2021 is going to take us by storm. No longer are we going to be able to sit in the comforts of our own home and shut everybody else out. If we have a heart, we're going to have to open up our doors of compassion and invite others in. I don't know how we're going to be able to sit in the comforts of our home and be satisfied knowing that we have neighbors, knowing that we have sons and daughters, understanding that we have friends and family that are just out on the street with nowhere to go, not knowing where their next meal is going to come from, not having shelter from the storm, not having a roof over their heads, And we not open up our doors of compassion for that, to provide them with a place to stay. So I believe that there's going to be families. They're going to have to come together once again. You're going to have multiple families under one roof. I believe that another thing is going to look like for education. I have to look at education because I am an educator. I can't see us uh, continuing to be in the schoolhouses. I think eventually we've already gotten a taste of what virtual education looks like. And I believe that eventually it's going to go back to that. I think eventually people are going to have to learn from home. We're going to be in front of a computer. We're going to be in some kind of religious setting. And this is where our education is going to come from. I think that it's going to begin to fizzle out and take on a whole new look. Religious practices, what I think that looks like is that it's also going to go virtual. I believe that many brick and mortar religious institutions are going to have to um, understand what this virtual arena looks like, and that they're going to have to revamp. I don't believe that we're going to continue to be able to take the risk to assemble together under one roof with hundreds of people in a place of worship. I just think it looks different. So we're going to have to revamp how we really look at life in 2021. 2020 was just a taste of the things that are to come. I believe that 2020 has given us opportunity to correct or to make the necessary changes or to get the knowledge that we need and begin to apply that so that we can develop other habits moving in to 2021. I don't think that 2021 is going to come and everything is just going to magically disappear. And for those of us who have experienced some false sense of security in being able to do what we do and maintain visibility and maintain our jobs and things like that, I also believe that even that's going to look different. Even that's going to, we spent 2020 in close proximity of family. The highs and lows of what we had to deal with in our own households. We don't even have to look outside our households. Close proximity of our own families. The highs and lows of the emotions that we've experienced. And it's only a taste of what I believe that is coming. It's only a taste of it. So yeah, we can look for resources like a stimulus. We can look for resources like new job opportunities and things like that. But I'm more interested, woman to woman, to know, what have you done for yourself? What have you done to prepare yourself? What have you done to prepare mentally? What have you done to prepare spiritually, physically, for the things that we're coming up against? The challenges that we've had in our marriages, the challenges that we've had in our communities, the challenges that we've had in our professions, in our households, our relationships with our kids, in education. It just gave us more to juggle. It just added that much more pressure upon our shoulders. What have you done personally to prepare for the things which are to come? What if it does not ease up? What if we've been allowed 2020 to prepare financially for the future of our families? What kind of storehouse do we have within our own households to build up our cabinets? What kind of canning and foods and resources do we have? What kind of water supply are we going to have? How are we going to keep the roof over our head? How are we going to make sure everyone else in our families are okay? There's so many things to consider. So many things to consider. We don't want to go into 2021 with a false sense of security, thinking that we're okay on our jobs, thinking that our relationships can sustain another year of what we've already endured, to think that our family and friends can endure the loss and the impact of those loss, the sicknesses, the diseases, the community injustice, so many things that we've uh, just day by day have been able to process at the rate that it's came, but then to think about where our hope is in 2021, where should our hope be at? Is it in 2021? Is it in a higher source? Where does that lie? And are we really being realistic? What's going to become of us emotionally? What's going to become of us mentally and spiritually and physically if this does not end? And woman to woman, I know that this is one of the hardest things that we have to take a look at, but it's necessary. And as I take a peek into 2021, I don't want to mislead you. I don't want us to go into 2021 blindsided and become so overwhelmed of the things that which are to come that we lose sight of what's really going on in our nation, what's really going on in our world, what's really going on in our community, what's really going on in our households, because it's real. This has not been a dream. And if it means that we have to take multiple families under our roof so that we can survive, are we willing to do that? If it means um, creating other streams of income for our families so that we can eat, are we prepared to do that? If it means taking what we did in the brick and mortar places and bringing it to our online arena so that people are encouraged and that they can still get education and that they can still grow and develop, have we systems in place to do that? The time is now to make those preparations and to think about what is it that we're willing to compromise on? What is it that we're willing to sacrifice? What is it that we're willing to do different in the event that it becomes necessary? I appreciate you joining me here today for this edition of Woman to Woman. If you're just joining me, I have been talking about taking a peek into 2021, seeing what that looks like, and really looking into what we're dealing with in real life time with the real life challenges that we already face and that we're anticipating for the year 2021. I am your host, Anntricia Bray Smith, author, educator, and public speaker. I am the voice for those who suffer in silence. Until next time, I'll meet you right back here for another edition of Woman to Woman.